From the strong reign of the British Empire, where the saying, "the sun never sets on the British Empire" originated from, to the rich tapestry of the Ottoman Empire that stood tall for over 600 years. In this video, we will talk about the largest empires that have shaped the course of history, influencing cultures, economies, and politics. Journey with us as we explore the 10 largest empires, each with its unique tale of the rise, dominance, and eventual decline. 10. The Ottoman Empire, 2 million square miles. At number 10, we have the Ottoman Empire. It was established by Turkish tribes in a region called Anatolia, which is in modern-day Turkey. The name Ottoman comes from Osman I, the Turkish leader who started the dynasty and empire around 1300. From the 15th to the 16th centuries, it became one of the world's most powerful empires. It lasted over 600 years and ended in 1922. After its end, the Turkish Republic and other countries from southeastern Europe and the Middle East took their place. At its peak, the empire covered most of southeastern Europe, reaching close to Vienna and parts of today's Middle East, like Iraq, Syria, Israel, and Egypt. The empire also stretched over North Africa up to Algeria and large areas of the Arabian Peninsula. The Ottoman Empire held almost 4% of the world, extending to 2 million square miles. Could anyone have predicted that Turkish tribes in Anatolia would give birth to an empire that would challenge the mightiest European kingdoms? 9. Yuan Dynasty, 4.25 million square miles. From the dynamic heart of Anatolia, let's journey to the vast landscapes of China, where the Yuan Dynasty was established by Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, in 1271. Kublai Khan was the first non-Han emperor to rule the entirety of China. The dynasty represented Mongol rule over China. He moved the capital to Dadu, which is present-day Beijing. The Yuan Dynasty can be seen as a prominent part of the larger Mongol Empire, but it focused specifically on China. The empire stretched over 4.25 million square miles of land, covering up to 8% of the world. The Yuan Empire ended in 1368 when the Ming Dynasty, led by the Han Chinese, overthrew the Mongol rulers. 8. Umayad Caliphate, 4.29 million square miles. Leaving the sprawling territories of China behind, we're thrust into the spiritual domain of the Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyad Caliphate was the second of the 4 major caliphates established after the death of the Muslim prophet Muhammad. The caliphate came into power when Uthman ibn Affan was appointed as the 3rd caliph of Muslims. However, it was not until after the assassination of Ali, the 4th caliph, that the Umayyad dynasty was formed. After the first Muslim civil war ended, Muawiyah I was made the caliph. The Umayyad dynasty originated in Syria, with Damascus being its capital. It was one of the largest caliphates in terms of territory, extending from Spain in the west to parts of India in the east. The Umayyads favored the Arab elite, leading to tensions between Arab Muslims and non-Arab converts. The Abbasid revolution overthrew them in 750 AD, after which most members of the Umayyad family were massacred. The Umayyad dynasty lasted over 100 years, extending to about 4.29 million square miles. This empire covered about 8.2% of the world. 7. Abbasid Caliphate, 4.29 million square miles. Later on, the Umayyad Caliphate was taken over by the Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasid Caliphate was founded by Abu al-Abbas as-Saffar, who led a rebellion against the Umayyads and began the Abbasid era. The Abbasid dynasty descended from the Muslim prophet Muhammad's youngest uncle, Abbas ibn al-Muttalib. The empire was initially established in Kufa, Iraq, but later moved to Baghdad, which became the renowned center of learning, culture, and power during the medieval era. The Abbasids were more inclusive than the Umayyads, emphasizing the unity of the Muslim community regardless of ethnicity. This led to the flourishing of various sciences, arts, and literature, often referred to as the Islamic Golden Age. However, as the Abbasid Caliphate continued, it became difficult to manage its vast territories. Over time, local leaders in different regions started to rule their areas more independently, even though they still acknowledged the Abbasid leader as their symbolic religious leader. The Mongol siege of Baghdad in 1258 effectively ended the Abbasid Caliphate in the east, although an Abbasid shadow caliphate persisted in Cairo under the Mamluks until 1517. The dynasty stretched over 4.29 million square miles of land. 6. Second French Colonial Empire, 4.44 million square miles. From the desert sands of the Caliphates, we now turn to the dense forests and bustling cities of the Second French Colonial Empire, which refers to the French territories acquired by France from the late 19th century to the mid-20th century. This empire succeeded the First French Colonial Empire of the early modern period, which had collapsed by the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815. The Second Empire began in the 1830s with the French invasion of Algeria. Over the next century, France expanded its territories, especially in Africa and Southeast Asia. The apparent purpose of their colonization was the belief that France had a duty to spread its culture, language, and religion. The process of decolonization began after World War II. Many territories sought and gained independence from French rule in the mid-20th century. The Algerian War was particularly brutal, and Algeria gained independence in 1962. However, the colonial era also left a legacy of economic challenges and, in some cases, political instability. 4.44 million square miles of land came under the French Empire, covering about 8.5% of the world. 5. Spanish Empire, 5.29 million square miles. The Spanish rule lasted over several centuries, from the late 15th century into the 20th century. This empire encompassed territories in Europe, Africa, and Asia, including the Philippines and Oceania, such as the Marianas, Guam, Palau, and the Americas. The Spanish colonization of the Americas led to significant cultural, demographic, and ecological exchanges, known as the Columbian Exchange, which included the spread of Christianity, the Spanish language, and the devastation of indigenous populations due to diseases and conflicts. The empire started to expand significantly after the voyages of Christopher Columbus in 1492 under the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella. It was one of the most powerful and extensive empires in world history, especially during the 16th and 17th centuries. The land under the Spanish Empire stretched over 5.29 million square miles, encompassing 10.7% of the world. 4. Qing Dynasty, 5.67 million square miles. The Qing Dynasty, officially the Great Qing, also called the Qing Empire, was established by the Manchus, originally from the region beyond the Great Wall known as Manchuria. The empire was established in 1636. The Qing Dynasty began ruling China in 1644 and lasted until 1912. An attempt was made to restore the dynasty in 1917, but it was short-lived. Its greatest extent was 5.67 million square miles, about 11% of the world. The Qing dynasty followed the Ming dynasty and was succeeded by the Republic of China, marking the end of imperial rule in China. The Qing dynasty was notable for incorporating multiple ethnic groups within its territories. The Manchus, while they were the rulers, constituted a minority in the vast Han-majority China. They also incorporated other ethnic groups like the Mongols, Tibetans, and Uyghurs. The Qing dynasty was one of the largest empires in history, encompassing a vast territory in East Asia. 3. Russian Empire, 8.8 million square miles. The Russian Empire was one of the largest empires in world history. It stretched over 3 continents, holding about 8.8 million square miles of land. Tsars and Tsarinas ruled the empire. It was started in 1721 by Peter the Great and ended in 1917 with the Russian Revolution. The Russian Empire got stronger, while nearby countries like Sweden, Poland, Lithuania, Persia, and the Ottoman Empire became weaker. The Russian Empire played a big part in stopping Napoleon, a French leader, from taking over Europe. One of the ideologies behind the Russian dynasty was that Moscow should be the third Rome. On March 15, 1917, Nicholas II stepped down from the throne, marking the end of the empire. 2. Mongol Empire, 8.8 million square miles. The Mongol Empire was founded by Genghis Khan in 1206. At its height, the Mongol Empire was the largest land empire in history, stretching from Eastern Europe to East Asia. The empire was divided into several sub-empires ruled by different members of the Mongol royal family. It spanned from the Pacific Ocean in the east to the Danube River and the shores of the Persian Gulf in the west. At its peak, it covered 8.8 million square miles of territory, making it the largest land empire in world history. Over time, the Mongol leaders grew weak. Eventually, they could not survive drought, flood, famine, and the bubonic plague, which resulted in the fall of each Mongol sub-empire. 1. The British Empire, 13.51 million square miles. You must have heard the old saying, the sun never sets on the British Empire. Let's go back to where this famous quote came from. The British Empire comprised many countries and areas controlled by Britain. It started when England set up trading stations and colonies in other parts of the world from the late 1500s to early 1700s. The empire became the biggest dynasty ever, and it was the most powerful for a long time. In 1913, the empire covered an area of 13.51 million square miles. Some important places in the empire were India, Canada, and parts of Africa, Australia, and the Caribbean. Britain brought its language, laws, and culture to these places, but it also caused problems for the local people. After the First World War, the empire started to get weaker, but after World War II, many empire colonies wanted to become independent. By the middle of the 1900s, most of the countries were liberated. Each dynasty has shaped the destinies of millions. Not only that, they are a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity that, even in the face of decline, new civilizations rise, inspired by the ashes of the old.